Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures, Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Sunny Vanderstar. Today's topic is When Ladies Are the Boss, and it will be presented by our fabulous expedition leader, Arpita Dutta. Arpita, thank you so much for being here today. I can't wait to hear what you have to say on this topic, so I'll turn it right over to you.
Thank you so much, Sunny. And thank you everyone for tuning today. And we have been talking, like, we really appreciate your presence because I think that means a lot to all the expedition leaders and all the members of Nat Hab, because even in the weekdays, the work has started, but still, because of you all, I think we are always so enthusiastic about presenting something new, learning something new together, which is absolutely a fun. So yes, being the lady presenter and the host, and I believe there are a lot of women out there who are fantastic and a lot of progressive men out there who are more awesome. So let's get started with it. Yes, when ladies are the boss, of course, we talk about a lot of wildlife, and if we consider the animal kingdom, we know that the male are mostly competitive and show dominance. That's how the natural process goes on. And over there, and there are very few animals where the female rules. I'm going to talk about few among them. So there are like ways, I mean, why it happens. So mostly we focus, I mean, the researchers and who observed, they have been focused on few things, few perspectives. One of which is the hormones. So there are hormones like which would be more stronger in either on female or on male, but the presence of those hormones are in both genders. So we would talk about, in this case, we would talk about only few of them, which is the androgen. Androgen is like the testosterone is the primary androgen. I mean, androgen helps to reach the puberty as well. But in female, comparing to male, female produce less amount of androgen. The progesterone and the estrogen are mostly for the female hormones. Progesterone are the to prepare the body for pregnancy, and the estrogen is like the both reproductive part and the characteristics. That's how this hormone works. And in case of few animals, a little no, I won't say imbalance, but a little extra portion or less amount of hormone secretion gives them a little different characteristics. And with hormone, there are other things which are important to know is the resources. So we human are, always sometime in the mind that we need one thing after another. It's very difficult that we give a pause to our need. But in case of animal world, if they get food, shelter, and the mate to reproduce, they are settled. So resources are very important. So in three ways, if we can divide it, like when the resources are scarce, then there would be a lot of there are different species when they're living together, they would do cooperation, like just to make sure that everybody gets their share. And when it is limited, so the groups scattered and concentrate at one point. So that's how this thing happens. And from there, from the scattered group, they have a lot of competition. And who are concentrated, the aggression shows more. And when there comes the aggression part, where we actually can quote the hierarchy system. But it not always go like that. And when there is abundant of food, shelter, and mate, then there would be less competition. So all the female I'm going to talk about, they are mostly like prevailing in this kind of social structure and the environmental structure. So according to that, the alpha individual needs to have all these sectors which it can carry forward. So with this, I'll start with the first female, which is the females are the combatants. We have heard about male combat, like the fight. Here, it is a reversal, reversal thing has happened, reversal of characteristics has happened in this case. These are the topi, the antelope, which lives in the savanna grassland, and they also share their territory with the other animals, other herbivores of the savannas. So here, the male are like they mostly belong here. So there are different like species. So here I'm going to talk about the southern part of it are mostly the high concentration of this animal, what you can see. Here the male are larger than female. So imagine when we talk about aggression, competition, it's always see the bigger size. But here the size didn't matter. And the male have their own territory. They protect their territory, they defend their territory, they also have their own harem. But in this case, the male don't fight. I mean, the male to male, they don't fight. They have to just look strong, tall, and they need to, like, because of their bigger size, if the other males see that this is a big one, they generally don't mess with each other. But here's something different happen. So in the savanna area, in the grassland also, the male generally when during the breeding time, so they do migrate a lot with the other wildebeest. And for them, they even do migration, or I would say they actually congregate at their breeding areas as well. So over there, the male generally finds a bigger mound and they go and stand up right there and up straight that here I am. They just need to draw the attention of the female that, hey, I'm there. That's it. And then what happens, very funny to know, but there are too many logics behind it, that the female fight with the females to, to win the race so that they can go and mate with that available or the, the best male in the group. So that's why the female fight with each other. And there is a reason why they do it. Because this topi antelope, they get like, they come into estrus or they come into this breeding thing once in a year. So that makes them very, effort, they have to put a lot of effort to make themselves pregnant. And because there are more female around, chances are less. So they always fight for their opposite sex. And that is also, they actually have the eye on that male and they prefer to mate with that male as well. And sometimes it has been seen that when there is a mating pair, the other female is trying to attack the mating pair so that they separate and she gets a chance to mate with the male. Sometimes the male show aggression towards the female who is very pushy, and already the male mate with the same female. I mean, he doesn't want to waste his energy to mate again with the same female. Rather than it is better to mate with another female so that the herd or the group size become larger. And here on that context, when the female conceive, they after 8 months, one calf usually born, and they somehow imagine in this open area, these females somehow manage to hide that calf for almost 3 weeks. So imagine there, these females need a lot of compassion and coordination from the other female in the group. But here the male doesn't have any work to do. It's only the mating part. The male leaves, sometimes it moves out of its harem and out of its territory. But then this female, the alpha female or the dominant female, gets the control of the herd, because she then takes care of the other female and the calf in that harem, and at the same time she also search for food, shelter, the shade, because there are less in those areas, there are less area where they can be under the shade. So she is the one who lead them and to protect them even from other predators and from other troops as well. So she takes the charge. Once the male come back during the breeding time, it's only the time when she is more aggressive towards the other female, and the rest of the time she takes the charge to move ahead. Imagine over here there is a lion, and it's like the heart of the female which are standing here, and they are standing right there in front of a lion. So they are always ready to confront any kind of predation which is coming towards the herd. That's how the bonding, the communication grows in this antelope. So while talking about the antelope on the land, how they make this thing happen, we can get back to the marine life. I think one of the few marine which has a matriarchy like family who are matriarchs. And here the grandmothers knows the best. There is a beautiful small TED talks on killer whale. If you can just listen to it, it is really amazing. It is a pretty long talk, but everything is so perfect and so nicely it has been explained. And thankfully that nowadays we got to know a lot about the killer whales because of the Whale Research Center, and that is also from almost 1976. Before that, maybe there were a lot of whale watching used to have. I'm sorry, but not well. The killer whale, people have seen killer whales, they have seen pods, but exactly how the social structures are taking over, it was very difficult. Apart from the identification, it was very difficult to know that how things were happening. So thanks to the research organization. So the killer whales are mostly distributed. What you see, there's a yellow portion over here. These are the distribution area. But mostly the study has happened in this area. So the British Columbia and a population from British Columbia and Washington DC. And thanks to that population, by which we got to know more about their social structure. And here they are like from the Pacific in the northwestern part of the area. And these are called the residential matriline, or the residential killer whale group. So when we talk about this residential matriline, just for whales, we have to remember few things. That when this matriline is the female and her offsprings makes one matriline. 1 to 2 matriline makes a pod, and when there are 1 or more pods, they make a clan. So when we talk about the female occurs or create the matriline, it's their offspring. That's how they stick together, and they never leave that group. They never leave that matrilineal family, neither the male nor the female. They stick together. And so now there could be a question that if they're sticking together, then what about the inbreeding part? So there is something about, I mean, they are way more clever, or rather they way more understand the nature and the social structure. So they have a different different way of reproducing. So as I said that there are matriline, pods, and clan. So there would be different pods. They are very social. They socialite with each other. And every clan has their different vocalization. Like they have dialect, which they actually use for communication. And each and every clan would have like the same ancestral lineage. So they know their words, they know their language. So that's how they socialite. So when one pod would come close to another pod, they would socialite. The male of the pod would stay in that. The female will come, breed, and then go back to its natal pod. And the male will stick to it, and it will go on. So that's how the change of genetics happens to keep the gene pool healthy. And apart from this mating, this doesn't go farther. I mean, they get separated. They are very happy with their own home and with their own world with the female. So here is one, when we talk about the female and matriarch, let me tell you why I say the grandma knows the best. Because here in case of orcas, the grandmother actually lead the clan or lead the pod, because the grandmother actually, or the female orca actually go through menopause. And this is one of the very rare phenomenon which has been seen into the wildlife, I mean in animals. Human has it, because in wildlife most of the time, imagine for every animal, once they cannot reproduce, then sometimes I mean it sounds very different to us because we are in a different social structure. But when the nature don't need that animal, that if it is not producing its offspring, they generally don't need it. But in case of this killer whale, and in some whale as well, they actually live pretty long even after they have stopped reproducing. So for a whale, they get matured around 10 to within 10 to 15 years. So after that, they start reproducing in every 6 years. And the female goes in menopause at the age around at the age of 40, and they can live up to 80 to 100 years, just like the human life. Imagine at our home, our grandparents are taking care of our like our children. This is how the things goes. We get a lot of support from the grandparents when we are going out for working, searching for this and that. So yeah, it's a big support, especially in India. We of course we all live together. So here, and grandma has a lot of thing to do with taking care of the pot. So what happens, because she is the elderly female, she leads the group. And while leading the group, she holds the leadership. And it is not only the leadership where they can only, they can only say that, okay, where to go and how to go, but it's also the protection, the security, and of course, they are the bearer of the knowledge, where to find the food. And this grandmom takes the whole group, whole the pod, to a fertile fertile foraging ground, like where there are a lot of fish where they can go ahead, especially for this northwestern Wales, they move towards north for the salmons. So they know where exactly the movement of the salmon would go when it is the time for their spawning. And also the grandma shares 90% of her hunt with the calves of her offspring. So imagine it is like always getting close, in close proximity you are living. All the female are taking care of each other's calves, and they are actually making the group and the bonding way more stronger. So here, when they are sharing the food, imagine slowly and gradually, even in that pod, the number of mouths, I mean, the numbers are also increasing, and the grandma has the responsibility to feed more mouths. So there, small pods separate, and when the grandmother goes much more, then the next female take not the charge, but assist the elderly female in the pod, so that they can actually get everybody into a proper, like, give everybody a proper portion of food. And with that, of course, the pod don't get separated, and the process somehow carry on. And and there was a question, that why? I mean, why they have to leave such a long? It's a grandma thing. The elderly female, they can take care even when they are about their breeding. But why the responsibility of the elderly female or the grandmom? The age gap of being reproductive and non-reproductive part. Why is this so? Gradually, the observation and many research has come up that when you are having your calf, it is difficult to put all the effort, to other calves as well. So when she stops reproducing, she can actually give away everything to her daughters or sons' offsprings, and she doesn't actually have much to focus on. So it's her, she takes the responsibility that she would do the helping part and leading part, and let her offsprings just reproduce. How fantastic that whole social structure looks like. I mean, this is amazing. And unfortunately, the male don't live more than 40 to 50 years. Imagine how the nature has selected that. I mean, the male would stop, even the male moves out, the pod carry on with this, and with the bigger help from the grandparent. Is, I think it's actually amazing social structure of it. But when we talk about the social structure, I think one of the highest social structure has been taken by this spotted hyenas. So when we talk about spotted hyena, they kind of live from 10 to can have 80 individuals in a group, rather in a clan. And on that, they are living mostly in the most part of the African area. And of course, they also live in the grassland. I'm so sorry, it's too hot here. And they mostly live in the grassland and in the savanna area as well. Imagine the landscape, just like the topi. They need a better view, a better control of the area, because predators are moving around, and of course there are competitors as well. So bigger the group, better the protection for the area. So what happens here is the female, like, while growing, they share a very good bonding, and the female hyenas live in the hierarchy. Even the less the female which is in the lowest hierarchy, that also ranks higher than the male in the spotted hyenas. So the female remains in their birth clan. They don't move out. And like high-ranking hyenas, they eat more. So imagine once they are done, once they make the kill, they finish their food. And in case of spotted hyena, they feed on the skin and bones as well. I think they are the only hyenas who feeds on everything, just like a vulture. And who has the larger kin group with more female would also rank in the higher position and will get more social support. With that, the hyenas reproduce from 2 to 6 cubs. And when they're about to reproduce, they kind of hide themselves into a secluded den. But when the babies are little, like they're growing up, they started to move out, they get into the kindergarten. Like there would be many fields. It's a communal den. They would leave those cubs behind and they will go out for hunting and of course, they need to sustain the group as well. And they are very much associated, their coordination, their capability, everything is way better than the male. Even in case of hyenas, their androgen, which I said that it is more in male, their androgen level is more than the male. So whenever even the female cubs is giving birth to a female, the cub look more masculine. Even the female spotted hyenas are bigger than the male, maybe 10% or 10% body size, but it is bigger than the male. And over here, when the cubs are kept, I'm sorry. Yeah, when the cubs are kept in that kindergarten communal den, few of the female stay back to look after them, and the most of them go out for searching for food and to defend their territories. And you know what, for the cubs, it's not important how like strong you grow up to be. It is more important about the social structure, like who their mother knows. If the mother has a very good social bonding with the alpha or the dominant females, the cub would get the similar kind of attention from the rest of the allies. So the mother's social network has to be really, really strong. And with that, when the female, of course, the female stick with the natal clan, but the male has to go out, not go out. Actually, the female kick them out from the group. And for that, even when they're making the kill, they don't let the male to get share from it. Unfortunately, the male hyenas they don't have much to laugh about because it's a struggling time when they are separated from the clan. There are predators, there are no group to hunt. Sometimes they have to depend on kill done by somebody else and some smaller things they have to feed on. And over here, the sisters and the other like siblings, they actually make it sure that the male don't get the share unless and until every female, every ranking female or every female in the group are done with their part. And in case of male, somehow they become an explorer to see where and which group they can go in. So they actually keep on moving from one group to another. Of course, for mating. Unless until, I mean, they move out, they won't get the privilege of mating. And with that, they carry on. So they don't create that kind of a bonding which the female hyenas have with their clan. And with that, you can see how they don't only hunt or like taking care of, they defend the territory. At the same time, if there are any problem which is happening in between in the clan, the alpha female, they actually take care of the problem. They try to resolve the problem, whether by showing aggression or what matter, but they do that. With that, it's very interesting that how the hormone in case of a female spotted hyena actually works in. So imagine this is a female, and this is the extended clitoris, which is there only in spotted hyenas. Out of the 4 species of hyenas, they only have this external, which is called the pseudo penis. And this is how it goes. So imagine when they give birth, this baby actually comes out from this pseudopenis. It's difficult, especially for the new moms. Sometimes they get ruptured, but after few times it becomes, the passage becomes more the elasticity of the passage increase, then it becomes easier. Otherwise, for new moms, sometimes it has been seen that the infant, I mean, before even coming out, it got stuck and it died. So yeah, it is both, it is difficult. I mean, rather it is life-threatening for both the cub as well as for the female as well. So this is how it occurs, and at the same time, having those external, like they have the pseudo penis, even they are pretty confirmed that, I mean, they are confirmed that the male, any male cannot come and mate with them. So they can actually retract their pseudopenis as well when they are not willing to mate. And at the same time, they prefer the migratory male in their clan for mating, and also the male has to be submissive, because unless and until the female is very ready for the mating cannot happen. So when the male is coming close, they itself shows a very submissive position so that it get a chance to mate with the female. And of course, as I said, that being in the high ranking in the societies, they have a big group, big like family to look after, and of course, they socialite a lot. Hyena has a very, bad, there are evil things are there. I mean, a lot of superstitions are there, but I think they are one of the very not cute, but very adorable creature when we actually get to know about them. And of course, and for that, being a socialite, hyenas might have more friends than what you have. And those friends are not just like, hey, hi, friends. They are like, proper bonding friends who would take care of each other till they leave this world. With hyena, let's come to another primate, which is the Madagascar princess. So here, most of the lemurs are female dominated. In case mostly studied done in the ring-tailed lemur. So this is in Madagascar. This is the ones I really want to visit Madagascar one day, but definitely for the reptiles out there, and of course the turtles out there. And so here is the lemur, and people are very fond of, because how they walk, how they ring, how they move around. So they are very much okay with the presence of the like human around them. And here the mothers are the stronger. Of course, the female lemur shows more aggression and they defend their territory more than that of a male. The male stays out of the clan, no matter even some fight or this thing is happening with the other troop of lemur or any other predator, or in case of any collision, the male are the last, or rather they don't consider that male in their group. When these things happen, they completely take control of their troop. So the leader responsibility, when the female leads it, so their metabolic rate is also very low. So they kind of come out and bask. But when the day starts with the call of the alpha female, for the dominant female. When the maker call, it triggers the rest of the female in the group to start their work or to in search for their food. The female doesn't have only like that much of work. She leads where to forage, how to forage, which are the separate, like she actually divide that troop into small like numbers, so that where it stays nearly 15 to 20 numbers, and she makes it sure that it's small and they move to in different areas in their territory. And you know what, even when there is a fight happens with the different troop or with that, the female even sometimes they fight with their uh, like with their baby hanging in them. So that kind of aggression she shows. Yeah, it's not easy to, you know, lead the group, to take the leadership. So yeah, she has to be strong enough to do that. With that, even the lemur genitals and their glands are very prominent than that of a male. So the lemurs have thin glands in their chest, arms, around their genital areas, and they keep on, you know, moving there. Sometimes, especially for the male, they take the tail up, they kind of rub their wrist around the tail, and they move around so that they just like this. This is the female, this is the male coming up, and this is where after the scent marking it is coming close to the female. So it's just like in the air it goes in. But that is generally the scent communication which all the animals do, and which all like prefers to do to attract the mate. But in case of lemur, it has been seen that their scent glands, their scent is very much complex and have more compounds, chemical compounds, than that of a male. So imagine this blue marking are of the male, this is the pink and the red one are female. Even in general cases, this is even much higher in the female, and during breeding time it goes more up there. So every day their one work is, while foraging and while searching for food, it's like to mark on the trees or in their periphery area to protect their, to defend their territory for the clan, for the troop. And yeah, with all this, she prefers to like basking in the glory that she leads the group, and it's on her wish and her command that how everything should happen around her. So with that, we have another beautiful species, which is, and I think it is one of the most, has become very famous, especially to the children, after we have seen Finding Nemo. And yeah, Nemo and Merlin, which is Nemo's dad, no doubt they have gone through a lot, have explored a lot. But with that, they are the progressive transformer. Why is it so? We'll come shortly. So here how they are distributed, and there are near about at least 30 known species of clownfish. And with that, the female and the male come to the anemones which are there. Of course, we all know that they have the stingers, but somehow this clownfish don't get affected. There is a reason, because they actually secretes a very thick mucus on their body, which for the nettles it's very difficult to stung or get into their skin. So that's how they get protection from the animals. And sometimes when they feed on, that goes a little bit goes to them as well. So it's a very good symbiotic relationship they share. But here we come where the male and female come together to get the new home, and the male does all the housekeeping of the cleaning and everything part out there, and he also takes care of every necessary things what the female wants. Even he brings food for the female when they are about to breed. But at the same time, while doing the housekeeping part, he also prepares, like clean up the area where she is about to lay the egg. So her thing is she would lay the egg and the male would fertilize them. You can see there are tiny like baby fish. You can see the heads and the small eye out there. Yeah, so and the father would always remain around that egg, that almost in that area, and it's near about 1,000 eggs he needs to do babysit. Yeah, it's a tough job, and the female are not bothered that what is happening out there. If she's there, she's cool about it that he is taking care of the eggs. But there is something has happened. Let's come back to Nemo for a while. Imagine if Nemo has a conversation with the dad. It's like, I mean, hey, dad. So how Merlin used to say that, hi, kid. So Nemo, suddenly, if Nemo asked, if you remember, that it said that, where is my mom? And Merlin just said something that she wasn't there, and here he is. But trust me, I don't know, but maybe he meant that I am your mom. And how is that possible? So here it comes that the male actually change gender change happen in a clownfish. So imagine in the clan, if the female is missing or dead or somehow away from that area, then the first dominant male, the female mate with, generally the female mate with the most prominent male in the group. So when the female disappear, the male become the female. It gradually, after a few months, it gradually go into gradually it actually changes into female. How fascinating that is. I mean, it's not only the female dominance, but it also, like, it has to be the female to protect that area or for the next generation to bringing in. That kind of capability they grow in, even being born as male. So how is that happen? So they have this like we have this hypothalamus, which has the pituitary gland with all the hormones it has. And in case of a clownfish, they both have this testicular and the ovarian tissues are present. So when there is the missing female, this male first start thinking, taking the responsibilities of the female maybe, or they need to know that way they can regenerate, reproduce, or keeping the group better. So the first change starts happening in their brain. There is an area called preoptic area. So in case of female, the preoptic area is large. So in 6 months, in 4 to 6 months, this preoptic area of the males gradually start enlarging, just like the female. Then, of course, the later on morphological and some physiological changes starts happening, and they become the next dominant female around them. And the next certain, if we go back to this one, so when this male becomes a female, the undifferentiated male and the most dominant among them would become become the more available male to mate with the female. How crazy is that? I mean, this thing is not happening. Okay, fine. I prefer to be the female, not only by this, but completely, I mean, physiologically and morphologically, they change themselves. Yeah, so with that, we have so much of aggression, fight, like defending, so many things we have come across with all the females we got to know. But this female is so different, so specific. They are the bonobo ape. And let me tell you, our 90% of our genetics, like there are similarities with them. And these bonobo apes, they don't believe in fighting, aggression. They just believe in like love, and they believe in peace. So they live only in this the Dominic Republic. Above that, here only this portion is only this much of the area they are scattered in. They are surviving, and with that, they have a very like inclusive kind of society. They have too much of acceptance, understanding, adjustment among the group. There are not many fight happens has been seen, that which had been taken care, which has been seen. Even the researchers and the observers have seen them, compared them both in wild and also in captive to study them, but they have never found that these bonobos are ready to fight. Yes, you get out of my territory. It never happens. They are always very gentle and kind. But there are ways when the male get little aggressive, and also sometimes when they want to mate with the female, they kind of shows a little aggression, but then the female comes and take over. And generally in case of bonobos, we know that suppose in case of tiger, the male leaves the group, just like the hyena, the male leaves the group. But in case of bonobos, in other troops as well, in case of bonobo, the female leave the group. The female are the one who go out from their maternal or from their natal troop to other group, and the male stay with the female, with the mother. And whenever there's aggression and this thing is go, the main female, the alpha female, actually comes in to take care of the aggression or to stop that. But not just by any way, by showing aggression. They stop that with so much of intimate and sensitivity towards the other. And even they are they have been seen like more sexually active. Like if somebody is fighting, you come, you kiss them, you just offer like sex, you have sex, no more tension, go back to your place. This is how they actually work. So that's why it's a racing libido. Sounds a little different, but in that way their mode of understanding is coming up with the sex. But at the same time, they have found out a very good solution to stop aggression, because the bonobos, the female bonobos are very receptive of sex during even when they are fertile or infertile part of their life. So that makes less competition for the male to get the female, or to compete with others to get the female, because everything is all are available and they enjoy it. And at the same time, when the female leaves their natal group to other group, immediately they create a lot of bonding. They share food, they give shelter. Even the female in that group give protection to the new female. If any of her like male offspring come and try to pressurize for sex, she would come to defend her. So, and there is also a click that why and how. You know what? Even the female bonobos do sexual sexual intimacy, like they actually bring their genitalia close, they kind of kiss, and they try to seek pleasure or give pleasure to the female counterpart as well. So it has been seen that the oxytocin level, that hormone is actually its a function is to create the social bonding, the empathy and all. So it has been found the female and the same sex sexual intimacy have, whichever female has, their oxytocin level is much higher than the female which mated with the opposite sex. And at the same time, the female which mate with the opposite sex, they are little secluded or they're little away from the main group of the female. Rather, when there is sexual contact with the female, their bonding is much more stronger and they protect each other very forcefully. Maybe because of, and that actually helps because the female, maybe the leading female, so imagine it's her son, and she is welcoming all the female from outside so that her son gets to mate with those different females without any collision, and then they would reproduce, and her gene or her territory or her matriarchy would grow bigger. So imagine they are solving each and every problem in that group, even when it comes to food, when it comes to mating, rearing their infants, everywhere. They are the most chilled out apes we have, because everything can be solved for them. Like for them, everything can be solved just by having fun or just making sex or making love. I think we humans should learn a lot from them, that apart from aggression, we can find out some other ways. And with that, I think we cannot definitely forget about the matriarch, like the who leads it is the elephants. I mean, their intelligence, their way, I think, for just to cover elephants and how their hormone works, how their understanding happens, how an elephant born with so much of intelligence remember everything that whole herd goes through, how much they are compassionate about their herd, their bonding, even with the farthest relatives they have, I mean, among them. So but for that, I think it has to be a separate webinar to talk about elephants, because they are just awesome. Like, they're fantastic, and their motherly instinct is so high. Just quickly before I finish, let me share one story. Is in Chitwan in Nepal, in Chitwan National Park. So I was there for 2.5 years, and they were like elephants which are kept for the safaris, but they are like the new school training, so no torture and stuff. But there was the most elderly female in that whole area, like in their lodges, and there are a few elephants, so she was the elderly one. And it took me 1.5 months to create that bonding. And after that, whenever I feel depressed or sad, I don't know how she could understand. She just put her trunk on my shoulder and try to bring me close to her. It's scary though, that she's huge. I still remember, and the day I was leaving Chitwan, like my work was over there, I just held her trunk and I cried like a baby. And trust me, I could feel once that she was holding me, like she was putting her trunk like that. When I was started crying and I was literally crying, she just make a little pressure and put me more close to, her just in this shoulder area. And I think that made me feel that whenever I used to miss my mom, I used to go to her. And I don't know how I feel. I hope that if you have ever come across in such a close communicative way, you might have felt the same thing. So they are that beautiful animals. So yeah, we can talk about elephants some other day, but more on everything. I think one thing we should always remember, that it's not ladies, I mean, where ladies are the boss. I think the big boss of everyone in this world, I think, is Mother Nature, and we call Mother Nature. So she's already the boss. So, and her children in any way she's taking care of. So I hope this brings a lot of new like ideas that how they could do, and how Mother Nature is taking care of us by calculating so many things. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Sunny, I'm ready to take up the questions.
Oh, Arpita, thank you so much. That was a fabulous presentation, and your story brought tears to my eyes. I can just picture the elephant embracing you. That's just an amazing experience
Even
you had.
I have tears, I still like it was. I think Sunny, it was the sweetest and most unconditional hug I got from her, and
Oh,
she so much. This is really amazing.
that really is unforgettable. So thank you so much for sharing. And it's just such a fascinating, I feel like maybe we've discussed this before, that when it comes to biology, so much of what we learned is based on survival of the fittest. And you've just, shared with us all that was lost in translation, in Darwin's theories, that collaboration and social networking is actually also very important. So that's fascinating that you were able to show us so many examples. Thank you. We only have a couple minutes for questions, but we do have some good questions. So let's go ahead and get started there. Let's see. Let's start with an easy one. Can you repeat the name or source of the podcast on the killer whales?
Name and it is the whale your research center, whale research center.
Okay.
And they are found mostly. I mean, they have actually like studied more on the population which is found in I mean British Columbia and Washington DC, near that area.
Okay, excellent. I'm reading through the comments right now, and I don't see any questions at the moment. It's actually just everybody saying thank you so much for your presentation. It was super interesting, and people really appreciated it. So it looks like we are out of time, so we'll just leave it there. Do you have any closing comments for us?
Yes, Sunny. I would always say I'm like super happy to present the webinars because it make me also learn a lot of things, and it's all because of you all who comes every time and just attend and tuning to listen to us. It's been always a great pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. And I hope someday I'll meet any one of you who are listening the webinar. That will be more amazing. We will have a great time, I'm for sure. Thank you so much and have a great day. And have a great day to you, Sunny, as well.
Thank you. I also want to thank everybody who tuned in today. Please join us again tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I'll conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody.